I want to kind of keep our focus on Ukraine, if I could, just for a little bit. Talk to me about your understanding of what China is doing currently to support Russia. I mean, clearly they've been engaged in helping Russia's economy, right, over the past couple of years. And there's been a lot of talk about how China's economic assistance to Russia has helped Russia essentially rebuild some of their military infrastructure that they've lost during the course of the war. But to what degree is China shifting that to actually then provide lethal aid? Do you have any insight into that?
China has been supplying lethal aid from the beginning of this conflict. We know from open reporting, for instance, that in the first moments of the war, China was feeding location data to Russia. That location data was obtained from Chinese-made drones that Ukraine was operating. Russia then took that data to take out the Ukrainian drone operators. Since that time, there have been these reports that China every day sells ammunition and other highly consumed items to Russia for use in the war. There's that report that Russia's largest cargo plane, transport plane, leaves daily from Zhengzhou, which is central China, with ammunition. And then, of course, we're seeing Chinese components in Russian weapons, especially chips. So the assistance has been there. And the really reason why this is important is not so much, China's material assistance, but, the Chinese can see the reaction of the Biden administration. From the get-go, President Biden has told the Chinese in public that there will be consequences for the provision of lethal aid to Russia for use in Ukraine. Mm-hmm. And China continues to provide it, and Biden continues to do nothing. And that was highlighted this week in really just an unbelievable scenario where we heard the UK defense minister say that China's been providing such lethal assistance. And then Jake Sullivan, a couple days ago, from the White House podium says no, that the UK intelligence was wrong. Well, what we're doing is we're relying to protect China's support and lethal aid support for Russia. This is just unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the UK defense minister's comments, because it was just this week, as you pointed out. And he did say that the UK has intelligence now that the Chinese government is providing military hardware. I think that there's been this parsing of words. There's been sort of this dance over the past couple of years that if they're not actually providing weaponry, right, significant munitions, whatever it may be, to Russia, that somehow, okay, they're providing maybe location support, they're providing, communication support, whatever it might be, intel support, that somehow we could push that aside and pretend like that wasn't lethal aid. But to your point, it is, right? If they're using any type of intelligence or information from China to then target Ukrainian military, well, it's lethal aid. But I think the UK's defense minister was talking about specific intel, citing weapon systems now being directly provided by China to Russia, which then you could step back and say we're in a proxy war with China at this point.
Absolutely. And, that reporting about from China supplying ammunition, supplying bullets, that's lethal aid, Mike. You can't parse that one. And that's open source.
No, the recipient of a bullet would agree with you that is lethal aid.
Yeah, I mean, this is just unbelievable on the part of the Biden administration. The reason why this is so critical, and it goes beyond Ukraine, and that this is basically Biden's been issuing hollow warnings. The reason why hollow warnings are important is just go back to the late 1930s, where Britain and France, starting in 1936 with the remilitarization of the Rhineland, keep on issuing hollow warnings to the Third Reich. You get to August of 1939, London and Paris tell Berlin that they will go to war if Germany invades Poland. And we know from the archives, Mike, that nobody in Berlin believed the British and the French because they had not followed through on previous warnings. Well, guess what? September 1st, 1939, Germany invades Poland. What do London and Paris do? They declare war. And we know that the Germans were shocked. So this is how you start a great war. You issue hollow warnings, and Biden has been issuing hollow warning after hollow warning.